Hello and welcome to Property Fundamentals. This is the channel to get property investment information for cities across the UK. First of all, we'll analyse the data. Then, we'll identify the best areas to invest in. In this video, we'll look at Colchester in 2023. Here we have the mean sold property price by ward for detached properties in Colchester. The wards on the outskirts of the town are particularly expensive. These are the sold prices for the semi-detached properties. The wards towards the east of the town are generally the cheapest to invest in. With terraced housing, the ward of Rural North is the most expensive to invest in. For flats, the ward of Wivenhoe, Rural North, and Lexton and Braithwaite are the most expensive. And finally, we have the combined sold prices for all property types. The overall price trend for Colchester is that the outer wards to the north, west and south are the most expensive to invest in. This is a map of the main transport routes in Colchester. There are multiple train lines which pass through the town and a bus station at the centre. This train line in particular, indicated with the red arrows, links Colchester with London. These are the Ofsted ratings for schools in Colchester. There are good schools throughout the town and only a few poor performing schools. Here are the institutions of higher education in Colchester. Most of these institutions are located in the centre of the town, making this an ideal location for student-leds. The dark blue areas show places which have a flooding risk within Colchester. The southern parts of Colchester have a high flooding risk. There is also some flooding risk next to the River Colne in the southeastern part of the town. With burglary over a 3-month period, the ward of Castle towards the centre of Colchester is the worst affected. For universal credit, the wards closest to the centre of the town generally have the highest percentage of claimants. Finally, for housing benefit, the wards towards the outskirts of the town have the lowest percentage of claimants. Now that we've looked at the data, we can analyse it to find the best areas within Colchester to invest. Before this, if you haven't already, I'd recommend you watch my other video which explains how to interpret this analysis. The map below shows the desirability of the various wards within Colchester. Data from the housing benefit claimants, universal credit claimants, burglary data, flooding and schools have been collated to give an overall picture of which areas are desirable and which are not. The main point of interest for location desirability within Colchester is that the wards to the immediate south of the town centre are generally the least desirable. On the other hand, the rural wards on the outskirts of the town generally have the highest level of desirability. The tables below show the quantified results of the average property prices for all property types and the desirability ranking. Generally, the wards which are the cheapest are the least desirable, and vice versa. We are looking for exceptions where a desirable area is cheap, as this is an area which may provide a high return on investment over the long term. These cheap but desirable areas will become more obvious when we visualise the data. Here we have a visualisation of the average property prices against location desirability for the wards in Colchester. The data shows that most wards are as expected because the least desirable wards are cheap and the most desirable wards are expensive. At the bottom end of the market, the ward of Castle is a good option. It is one of the cheapest wards and it has a higher quantified desirability than neighbouring ward, Newtown and Christchurch. In the mid to high range of the market, the price generally seems to reflect the desirability fairly well, and therefore the best ward to invest in is likely to depend on the investor's budget. Finally, one ward that the data suggests to avoid is Mersey and Pyfleet. It is one of the most expensive wards, but its quantified desirability is only average. Therefore, Mersey and Pyfleet is unlikely to generate a high total return on investment. Thank you for watching this episode of Property Fundamentals. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you again next time.